Greetings, everyone. Today, we are honored to have a very special guest with us, an international master of Moroccan storytelling. He brings the magic of Moroccan tales to life in a way that captivates the audience worldwide. Please join me in welcoming the star of tales, Mr. Zouhair
Thank you
el-Khaznaoui.
so much. Thank you for inviting me for this podcast. And thank you for the listeners. And big thanks to you if you watch the whole podcast till the end.
We are very thrilled to have you here with us to share your
Likewise.
incredible journey and the stories behind your success.
Inshallah, I'm all ears for your questions. I'm all ready for the answers.
Inshallah. As we've seen, so many people, young people, children or adults, are very inspired by your work. So
Alhamdulillah.
tell me, how did it begin? How did you embark? Oh no, I think I have passed the question.
It's okay. It's okay. Take your time.
Can we
You're doing
repeat?
good. It's okay. You can repeat, I guess, the question, and in the editing they will. So repeat the last question, the last bit that you don't like.
I think I need to start with the introduction.
Okay. Do it again.
Again, thank you so much, Mr. Zouhair,
Thank you.
to attend for attending our podcast. To just make time and be present in the podcast is very pleasant.
Thank you.
And we would love to dive in such a wonderful topic with you today. But as like a way to begin the podcast, I think the listeners would love to know who are you? Who is Mr. Zouhair? Could you give a brief introduction about yourself?
I'm Zouhair Khaznaoui. I'm a storyteller. I'm not a master storyteller. I'm still learning. I have no interest to become a master. I want to learn for the entirety of my life. I'm born and raised in Marrakesh, Morocco. I love this city. I'm 27 for people who are curious about my age. I'm 27. And I hold a degree in English literature and cultural studies, as well as political culture. And also, I am a storyteller, as I said before, but this is not something that I gained from university. I couldn't gain it from university, but I was an apprentice, متعلم in Darija, of a master storyteller, الحاج حمد الزرغني الله يرحمه. He died in 2022. I started in end of 2016. And I tell you a little bit about, maybe I will cross some of the questions that you might ask me. When I was your age, younger and older than your age, in school, I was always that school clown. I was very respectful, but I tried to make people laugh every time. It was bad for the teachers, but for the future, it was good because that made me a storyteller. I had no problem going in front of the public, and back then it was my schoolmates, my classmates, and talk freely and make fun and jokes of everyone. So 2016, a friend of mine told me, since you like public speaking, maybe you will like storytelling. So I was listening to her, giving me that opportunity, and I said, yes, I want to be that. So I went to المعلم, the master, Haj Hamad Zarghni. I kissed his hand and I kissed his forehead. I said, المعلم, I want to be your student. He said, مرحبا. And my journey started.
That's very interesting to know. And we could also tell that the Marrakesh blood runs through you. Because
Yes, very.
You're full of energy and life just as your home city.
Yes, thank you.
So, as you said, I think who inspired you is المعلم.
Yes, a lot, yeah. He's a wonderful معلم, and I've studied all over the world. I've been an international student in my student life. I'm still a student, but like formal student life. But there is nothing like being an apprentice to المعلم. It's really more than universities. You learn a lot about life. More than only storytelling or the subject matter, but you learn about life. You learn how to behave in that field. You learn the values of the field. So it's really wonderful, very inspiring.
You see him as a role model.
Yes.
And is there like other Moroccan figures that, like Moroccan figures in general, that you see as a role model for you?
Oh, a lot. A lot of role models. Well, I start with one that most of the Moroccans love him. He's the belated king to Morocco, Hassan II. Why? Because of his vision to the culture and to the tradition. I really love it. And he's a great public speaker and storyteller as well. So he's really get inspired by him. And also Moulay Jafar Kansusi, John Rowe, Raymond de la Fontaine, a lot of people that, alhamdulillah, I met through storytelling and could inspire me. Everyone is inspiring. You are inspiring me right now.
Thank you. That's really wonderful to hear. And I think that as we're talking about storytellers in Morocco, what do you think, how is storytellers considered important in the Moroccan culture?
Well, they are very, very important. Why? Because the Moroccan culture is an oral culture.
Yes.
Everything is transmitted in an oral manner. So everything is spoken. So storytellers were very, very important to the culture because they are the gateway to the culture and they are the keepers of the culture and the tradition and the carriers of that culture to the next generation.
You've talked about male storytellers. What about female storytellers?
We have a lot of
Their role in the storytelling.
Of course, that's a
work.
very good question. Thank you for asking it. And when I say storytellers, it's both male and female.
That's true.
And they believe, not even believe, I mean, it's a fact that female storytellers are more important and are more numbered. I mean, through the history of Morocco, we've had a lot of female storytellers. Maybe male storytellers, the only difference is that they were dominating the public squares. They are in Jemaa el-Fna Square, in Sahat Boujloud in Fas. You can find a lot of male dominance in these squares
Yes.
because of the social structure of Morocco. But looking at the number of female storytellers who would tell in houses and who could educate people. I mean, they were tutors, considered as tutors, and worked in the royal palaces in the past. They were more than male storytellers.
Oh, I think that's the first time I've heard it because, as you've said in videos, I've just seen male storytellers, so that's why I needed to ask.
We're trying to change that.
Yes, of course. They're both important and they're both as hardworking as each other.
As each other, yes.
Yes. So, as we've seen, most storytellers begin, I think, in Jemaa el-Fna, because it's cultural to have a lot of storytellers in Jemaa el-Fna. Do you think that because of the influence that tourists have on Jemaa el-Fna Square, there are a lot of tourists that go there. So, what do you think that it's in the meantime? Is it still suitable for storytelling?
You asked me, or you kind of asked me two questions. I mean, you said something about storytellers start in Jemaa el-Fna Square. Well, they don't start there. I mean, they get professional there. I mean, it's a very hard place to tell stories. I mean, believe me, I've invited storytellers from all over the world. And if you're not really a good storyteller, the audience of the square will eat you alive. So it's somewhere that you end your career in, not your start. And storytellers start with their grandmothers. So the stories always start with women, always start with female storytellers. The second question, which is deep and profound, the relationship between tourism, Jemaa el-Fna Square, and storytelling. Jemaa el-Fna Square, just to tell you something about Marrakesh, Marrakesh has always lived with travelers and visitors and what we call right now tourists.
Yes.
because el-Fna Square, maybe it's the first time you hear it, but its foundation, the start of el-Fna Square, it has always been a land harbor. So we have the harbor by the sea,
Yes.
and we have a land harbor. So we have a lot of camel caravans coming to el-Fna Square. So it was always a place where tourists meet. But right now, with mass tourism, it's more than Marrakesh can have. What happens is a lot of tradition go into folklore, or what I call fake lore. It's when you have a traditional practice, you don't practice it with the original people, but you have a small taste of it for tourists. And that's exactly what is the change that is happening in el-Fna Square. Of course, tourism is beneficial in some ways
Yes.
and harmful in some ways. And going back to storytelling and tourism, storytellers do not perform in the square anymore. Sometimes they get booked by agencies, they get booked by maybe some journalists just to perform in the square for the camera or for the tourists, and then they leave. They get some money and they leave. But they don't perform. Why? Because the space is too noisy. There is no clear space and so much people.
Yes.
And also the audience is changing. Back then, the audience will sit for a lot of time. But right now, they will only look for a couple of minutes and they leave. So storytellers have no time to really tell, to really tell their stories.
Yes, and I completely agree with you. And I thought that they were like storytellers in el-Fna. I thought that they weren't like booked. That was the first time I've heard this. And as you've said that storytellers in el-Fna are only booked of like agencies are looking for them for money.
You cannot find them working in el-Fna. You can find comedians, you can find musicians, Gnawa, Isawa, you can find snake charmers, monkeys in diapers,
Yes.
henna tattoos,
Yes.
but you cannot find storytellers.
So that means that storytelling power doesn't. The storytelling power that the storytellers that held a power back then don't hold the same power now.
It's changing. I mean, the power of storytelling is always there. Why? Because we have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we'll always tell each other stories. But it's just the formula of storytelling in the square has changed.
Yes. So do you think that right now, is it because of technology and as in technology for storytelling, like that is now considered a part, this is considered has a relationship with technology, is now advanced. How do you see its future in the digital age?
Well, there is always future. I mean, it's what we try to do is the reinterpretation of the art is trying to. What I mean by reinterpretation is trying to breathe a new life in it, to give it a new modern, age life, and us having a podcast is a part of it. I'm telling you the story of storytelling. So millions of people till eternity, inshallah, if the video is still there on the internet, they will be watching this podcast and they will learn about storytelling. So it's evolving. The only thing that I try not to do, and I ask fellow people who and colleagues who work in culture and storytelling, I tell them do whatever you can so you don't transfer your culture or transform your culture and tradition into folklore. Make it something that is practiced for the next generation. If I do something right now, if I do it, when I die, in the future, inshallah, I want people 100 years from now or 200 years from now to carry on what I and other people do in storytelling. So they take it, and as I did, I took it from my ma'allam. He died, Allah yarhamu, and I carried on his legacy. I tried to put my own legacy in it, try to innovate because I live in an era that he did not live in it himself. So 100 years from now, other generations will read about me or watch me in the podcast and will think, oh, he's too old. Podcast is so old. Now we have something else,
Yes.
and they will carry on. And this is how what we are really working on is to keep it for this first to live it, second to send it to the future, inshallah.
That's like a very good way to express it. And as I've heard what you said right now, you've talked about preserving the tradition of storytelling. How do you think we can preserve this tradition, pass it on to different generations?
Well, I don't like using the word preserve because when we say preserve, it's like something for the museum. So we can preserve an artifact. We can preserve a table, but how can we preserve words? If we put it, because it's intangible, it's not something that we can touch.
Yes.
If we put it into a book, that's becoming tangible. And if we put it into a book, that is like museum. So, because stories are meant to be, oral stories are meant to be told. And the value of storytelling is we have a sender and we have a community around him or her. So someone speaks and other people are quiet and listen and imagine. That is the formula of storytelling. So preserving, if we are using the word, there is one way to preserve, is to practice. For me, is what's a better word to do is resuscitation. Because we have an art that was having a difficulty in the last 20, 40 years, having a difficulty because of a gap between the audience and the storyteller and technology and a lot of other reasons. But what we try to do, as I said in the beginning, is reinterpretation, is to do it differently so you can be interested and everyone can be interested in storytelling. So you will, if you are interested, maybe you or your friends, one of you will become a storyteller.
Maybe, inshallah.
Yes, inshallah.
You said, do you train young stories? You said to practice is a good way to pass on the tradition. So do you mentor young storytellers?
Yes. So when I started working as a professional storyteller, we did not have the festival, we did not have the school, but alhamdulillah, right now we have a whole ecosystem for storytelling. So we have a school and we are opening a second school in Marrakesh for storytelling, or annex of the first school, if we shall say. And we train young, not only young, I mean old as well, people who are interested in becoming storytellers. And we also have an not online, but we have a program for kids. Because we don't train kids, we train young adults.
Yes.
Like 18 and above. But for kids, we have a program with the Ministry of Education, and we do workshops for kids in public schools, in state schools. We go to them and we teach them storytelling.
That's really good. As I've seen, you're trying so hard for this tradition to stay, and that's really wonderful.
Yes, it deserves. We deserve to. Moroccans deserve to be known in the world because what we are doing right now is something that is ancestral. It's alhamdulillah, our ancestors left a very vibrant tradition for us. A lot of culture, a lot of music, a lot of colors. So we have to honor them and we have to show the respect for what they did, because this to reach me, it's hundreds, if not thousands of years that have been happening here. So the least we can do is to honor it and respect it and send it to the future in a good plate.
I completely agree with you. And we've talked about storytelling and in el-Fna also. What about festivals, the international festivals? Can you tell us more details about it?
Well, the international festivals are a vibe. They are very good, lovely. Yes, what do you want me to tell you about festivals? They're beautiful.
You can tell anything. Just what makes it special from the other storytelling events.
Well, a festival is a big gathering of storytellers from all over the world, and you get to see a culture, especially if you are a touring artist. If you go and visit other countries and visit and do work residencies in other countries, you learn a lot from them, and sometimes you discover something about yourself in their culture. It's happening a lot, yeah.
What is like the difference between their traditions in storytelling and our tradition, Moroccan culture?
Well, I mean, everyone has storytelling. I mean,
Yes.
Morocco is not special by storytelling. I mean, because every country has storytellers. It's with people telling
It's
that in
special
different
in
manners.
its own way.
Our own way is the halqa. We are special with the halqa.
Can you give us more details?
So, for example, in Ireland, they don't have the normal halqa that we have. The halqa that is in Jemaa el-Fna.
Yes.
What they have is like this. I mean, you have the bonfire, people sitting in a gathering, small number of people, or in a cottage, and they will share stories. In England, it's similar. In Jordan, it's and Sham in general, the region of the Levant, Syria, Lebanon, Palestine, Jordan, even Egypt, they have the storytellers in cafes. So they sit, and it's like the khatib, the imam of the Jemaa. They sit in a high place and they tell stories to a live audience who are having cafes and nargilas and everything. So that's a beautiful thing. That's their formula. But for us, it's الحلقة. تكون واقف والناس, people are
Yes.
surrounding you and they are standing, and it's and also it's competitive. Storytellers are next to each other, so you have to be good. You have to master what you say.
As you said, every culture is special in its own way.
Yeah.
And you've talked about Egypt cafes. They work like as storytellers in cafes. I've heard in some interviews that you have a storytelling cafe.
Well, I don't have it. I don't own it. It's so my partner. I call him my partner in crime, Mr. Mike Wood. He's an English businessman, and him and his wife founded a cafe, World Storytelling Cafe, and all of us, we founded the festival, the Marrakesh International Storytelling Festival. So I was in the cafe before it was built. So I was there from day zero. So I consider it also is one of the very important spaces for storytelling in Marrakesh, and very dear to my heart. So it's, if you are a storyteller, I mean, you should consider it as your own cafe.
Yes.
It feels like
Just as your, yes, that's what I was going to say, just as your own home.
yeah.
Is there like, as you said, you take it as your own home, it's very close to your heart. What about stories that are close to your heart, that holds a significance or a special significance, an emotional connection to you?
Any story about Marrakesh?
Tell us one.
We
would love to hear just a little paragraph.
Look, I love the story of the Garab. I love the story of the blind man of Marrakesh. I love the story of the thief and the three beggars. I love the story, even the real stories. In English, the problem with English language is it doesn't do fair to a lot of things, because it's not a language that is for poetry or philosophy. Short, when we say storytelling, it's inclusive. But in Arabic, we have hikaya, qissa, legend, it goes on. So even qissas that are real stories of Marrakesh are fantastic. I can tell you the story. Do you know that the name... Are you from Marrakesh? You are from Marrakesh. Do you know that the name Al-Murrakushi is also used in the moon?
Tell us more. I don't know.
You see,
honestly.
it's we have an astrologer. not astrologer, but someone who does. I mean, this technical word is slipping out of my head right now. I can't remember things, but someone who works in for space, and we've had one that is he's called Abu Saad al-Murrakushi, and maybe people who are listening to us maybe check the name, but the nickname is al-Murrakushi because he was from Marrakesh. And in 1973, there was a big gathering of astrology and space sciences in Geneva, and they named the upper lid of a volcano in the moon. They named it with all the important people who give a lot to astronomy, and one of them is al-Murrakushi. So when you hear it, you feel instantly proud of who you are as someone from Marrakesh, because your name also is in the space because of people who gave ancestors. So we are standing on shoulders of giants.
I've never actually heard this story or like the
And there are
original
more. There are a
name.
lot. Yeah.
I've never actually heard about it because I don't think it's talked about it. I don't think there are a lot of people that talk about it, but
There are not a lot of people who know it. You can find it on the internet. You can even ask ChatGPT about it. He will tell you all the what I just said, maybe with more precision over the name and the year. But this is also why we do storytelling. We do storytelling to survive. In Arabic, we say نحكي لنعيش. Why? Because if you don't tell your story, when I say your story, your own story, or your country's story, or your city's story, or your family's story, someone else will do. So to survive, to be in the future, you have to tell your story. And this is why we tell stories and we encourage people to tell stories.
that's like a real wonderful way to express it, because I think that storytelling is very rich with a lot of information about your culture, about your origins. That's really wonderful. And I think that we would like to know how they choose your stories, these kind of stories that you say right now.
That's a good question to ask. To choose the stories is to know your audience. That's a technique. That's a technique that you don't learn in schools, you learn with the master. Is how to define your audience. How to know, because a good storyteller is someone who knows his audience or her audience, and they know what to tell. They know the relevant story. You, as a storyteller, you don't want to do two things. First thing is rub salt on your audience's wound. So if your audience, for example, okay, give me a bad situation that people can live in.
I think like a bad situation for
Yeah.
a storyteller, or
No, for the audience, for anyone.
I think I don't. As a storyteller, I think that just your audience finding you very boring. I think that's already
So they
very
find you
embarrassing.
very boring if you don't tell them the right thing. So, or they find you very harmful. For example, if there was an earthquake and people lost their loved ones and they are still, grieving, you don't want to tell them about a sad story.
Yes.
You don't want to rub any because
the salt in their mouths. Yes.
And also you don't want to tell them something that they are not familiar with, that they don't relate to. For example, you go to an African country, to a tribe, and you tell them about snow. They've never seen snow. So they cannot relate to that story. It's not beneficial for them. They learn nothing and they understand nothing. So you have to be in between. You have to tell people something that they are interested in, and also something that is going to be helpful and not harmful to them.
I think that there are some people that if you said, as the example that you talked about Africa and snow, I think some people are going to take it way too seriously and just say that you're a bad storyteller, you're talking about things that we don't have, and that's very disrespectful for them. As you've talked about like audience in general, in your experience, is there like one time that you faced an audience problems and engaged an audience? How did you overcome
Yes. Two situations. One in Jordan. In Jordan, I was in a city. I was supposed, with some artists, I was supposed to give performance in a city called Salt. Salt was before the capital of Jordan, before Amman. And there, people have never seen an artist for a while because the city was, for a lot of reasons. We don't have to go through those reasons, but for a lot of reasons, it was suffocated by the police. A lot of police, a lot of everyone
Crimes.
watching. Not corrupt for a lot of reasons. So we went there and people didn't know how to deal with us. So we were in a park, and young people who were in the park, like 16, 18, they feel like they are the kings of the park. They started shouting and disturbing the performance. Not because they are bad, but because they don't know who we are. Energy, I came with a jalaba, and someone else came with a skirt, like from Scotland. Who are those people? Are they coming to give us something good or give us something bad? So they didn't know how to deal with us. And the kids, like we were talking and they were raising their hands. They didn't know. So what we did, one by one, we told stories without minding the audience. And they started learning. They would say, we have to sit down. We have to be quiet. We have to listen. We don't have to interrupt. And at the end, we can talk to the storyteller. And later on, a friend of mine went to Jordan to give a performance in the same city. And he said, like, that the city was good. The city received them so well. He said, this is the power of storytelling. It changes people. And they tell you another story that happened to me in Turkey. So in Turkey, I was invited to a festival last year in Istanbul. And I went to a district to give a performance, to a public performance to a district, like hundreds of children and their parents inside of the neighborhood. And the municipality, Baladia, they told me, you can do some Arabic, and there is a little bit of problems for Turkey and Arabs, especially Arabic speakers. So
businesses, yes.
Not business, Syrian refugees. So it's long, the boring topics. Let us get into the interesting ones. So when I started warming up my voice, and I was doing just sound check. And I was doing sound check with Arabic, and I was repeating poetry from rubaiyat, from the Moroccan heritage. Like just some Moroccan poetry, same as المجدوب and like the rubaiyat. And there was a lady with her children. She came to me and she was shouting, no Arabic, go away to your country. I said, yeah. I mean, the organization, they came to me. They said, are you okay? Do you still want to perform? This is so bad. We didn't plan it. I said, today I really want to perform. Because this is where I need to change this. She, unfortunately, I know that she's not a bad human being, but she has a prejudice.
She finds it disrespectful?
She was very disrespectful because she came to me on stage and she was shouting at my face. But it's for this, I shouldn't be sad. I shouldn't think of myself. I should think about her. Because my role as an artist is to try to have change. And this is a moment for me to change. Because she thinks that the Arabs are bad. What if I tell her stories where Turks and Arabs lived happily
And our friends.
and were friends. I will win her heart and she will change and her children will become positive. And this is exactly where storytelling comes in handy, is where these conflicts happen.
So you say that storytelling changes people's life.
Of course.
It has an impact on people.
Yes.
How? Like,
I tell you something about imagination. Let's have an exercise.
okay.
So, can you imagine with me something that is impossible? Creature. I want you to let your imagination go wild. Quickly give me a creature that cannot exist.
A very big green monster with 3 eyes and four legs.
Uh-huh.
Has like
How many hands?
powers. He has 15 hands.
15, okay.
When he talks, he talks with fire. He talks with animals. He talks with every living being.
Okay.
I think that he isn't harmful. He is harmless. He loves to help people.
Okay.
And
Okay, I stop you here and I tell you something.
Okay.
So what you just imagined is a creature. We all, and maybe all the audience, agree that it's not possible, right?
yes,
But I tell you, it's true. It's real. Why real? Because what you just did, you just compounded realities. Because human beings are not able to imagine something that is not within their experience. For example, legs. We only know legs. So we know what are legs and how do
Yes.
they look like. Hands, color red or color green, you said, and 3 eyes. So all of these things, it's true to us. It's true to our experiences as humans. So humans are not capable to imagine something that is not real. They just compound things. They just make it too much, so it's not logical to us.
yes,
So what is the interesting part of imagination is it covers truth. If I tell you, do this and don't do that, you are resentful. You are made as a human. You don't like it. You don't like to be told what to do.
yes,
But if I tell you a story, for example, you try to do something bad or you dropped out of school. You want to drop out of school, I don't know, for a reason. And then your mom comes and tells you, I will tell you a story about a little girl who dropped out of school. This is what happened to her, and this is the problem, and this is what happened to her. She suffered, she didn't know how to learn anymore in her life. So you are equipped with a story, and you know exactly what will happen. And the story, you don't resent it because it's beautiful. It's imagination. It takes you to La La Land, maybe. So that La La Land is where storytellers put their message, where the lesson is. It's better than do and don'ts.
they make their lesson very fun to hear, and
Exactly.
just like those messages in a point of view of someone else, so they can know what happens after.
Exactly. Yes.
I've understood. What about like? Do you think, as you said in Jordan, not a lot of people didn't know what you were doing. So, do you think that it is important to have storytelling sessions in schools?
Yes. Everything is important to have in schools, because if so you are the future of the country. So and when you are young, you learn more. And when you are young, so this exercise I did with you, you did brilliant. Try to do it with a grown up, with someone who's 30, 40 years old. They are too scared of imagination.
They think that it's childish.
It's childish. See? But imagination is what brought us here. Imagination is what made a TV have a bonfire, is what made a microphone, is what made cameras, is imagination. So kids have Picasso said that it takes 20 years to learn to draw like a child. And I will say the same thing. It takes 20 years to tell a story like a child. So it's important to get storytelling into schools and into kids, to very young kids, because when they grow up, they grow with stories, and they grow knowing how to tell their stories, and this is very important.
They won't think that it's childish, but it's actually just a fun way to.
Nothing is childish.
Yes, I think
Childish is more important than
yes. It was-
adultist. It's childish is good. Childish is lively. Childish is limitless.
It lets you get creative.
Yeah,
Imagination, nothing to be embarrassed about if it's right.
yeah.
If you think it's right, then you can do it. It's not really embarrassing for you. What about you've talked about young, like children in general. What guidance would you, or like just something that you will tell them that is important for a storyteller, like a characteristic or.
A lot of things are important for a storyteller, but tell a story. That's it. The only thing you can do wrong to a story is not tell it. So tell the story and that's it.
What about people that have social anxiety, people that are very nervous, but at the same time
Storytelling will help you.
they're passionate?
Storytelling will help.
How?
Because storytelling heals people, and they have a lot of practical examples of people who had social anxieties, who cannot talk in front of the public, and right now they can talk and tell in front of people. So it's practicing. It's practicing, and when you master your own story, because being anxious and social anxiety, I'm not claiming that I'm a psychotherapist or I understand these things or human behavior, but what I know is, as a humble storyteller, and storytellers say يحكى والله أعلم, so you have to do your homework by yourself. To get the power to yourself, because what storytelling does is it gives you confidence, and with confidence you are not going to be, and with confidence brings power, and power eliminates anxiety. Because when you tell your own story, and you know how to tell your own story right,
from the experience.
you hold the power. You hold the power over the people who listen to you, because you control how you want them to resonate with your story. And that's the essence, and that's the ultimate power, is to be able to control the narrative. There is a saying, a political saying, the one who controls the narrative or controls the story controls the power.
That's very interesting. And you said to begin is to tell stories, but where to begin? Apart from telling stories, is there like a specific place that you can practice, or for beginners, for people that even if they know they have control on the audience, but they still get nervous, sometimes they stutter, so...
First tell to yourself, then tell to your toys.
The toys isn't the same as humans.
Look, even when I was practicing as a storyteller, I would go to a room filled with cushions, and they will tell to the cushions as though they were people. So I can master my space, and then you start telling your family and friends, because they're close to you, they will be honest, but they will be gentle at the same time. And even if you make a mistake, it's okay. They will love you anyway. It's not like the real audience. And the most important part is you tell it to yourself first.
But like, what if you told it to yourself, to your family, and the moment you came into stage, you're suddenly nervous, stuttering?
It's okay. That's human. It's okay. It's okay to be nervous.
The audience won't
you
have
you will be nervous throughout your whole life. You do it through nervousness. The only thing that happens is, with more practice, you know how to control being nervous. I am nervous, and I know that 20 years from now, still practicing this, I will still be nervous before I go to stage. Like, I'm shaking before I go to stage. But you go, and then you know how to deal with it. You know how to deal with nervousness. Practice does not mean eliminate nervousness, but just knowing how to deal with it.
You sound very confident talking about it. What about your personal experience? The first time you began sharing stories,
Uh,
were you nervous?
Yeah,
Confident, as you said.
no, 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 no. As I told you, if I have a performance, I'm still nervous. I am always nervous before each show, which is important. It's healthy to be nervous because it puts you in the stress to become good. First performance, I didn't know how to deal with stress, but it was okay for me being. Maybe I was a terrible storyteller, but I was good at public speaking because I know how to do public speaking. I don't get nervous standing in front of people, not as a storyteller, but standing in front of people. That's totally all right. I can stand and can خربق, it's okay. I don't bother.
No problem.
No problem for me.
You've never felt embarrassed, or something. Embarrassed about a fault you made or nothing.
Oh, you feeling? Look, we're all humans. غير but it's we as humans have different qualities that make us special and unique to ourselves. We have to define those qualities and we have to work on them and making them better and applying them to something that is good for us. And for me, of course I get embarrassed when I do something wrong. Of course I hate it when I make a mistake. But in front of people, if I make a mistake, it's okay. I mean, from a young age, I don't have that problem, of being shocked in front of people. If I make a mistake, I own it. I laugh about it and I make it a story. And that's the fun part of it.
Just being in front of audience is already enough that you're already brave. So being embarrassed isn't something that is really a fault. Mm-hmm. It's normal.
It's normal. It's good to because when you have to make mistakes because
to learn.
Look, I don't want to go to a performance where there was no mistake.
It's
I don't want to watch a
impossible.
robot. I want to watch a human. I want them to want to say a word and then it comes another word. So I want to see that.
The mistakes are what makes people special and
human.
Yes.
I want to see humans. I don't want to see robots.
I think that's enough questions. I think that we've had a long conversation. Thank you so much for attending our podcast.
Thank you for being a very wonderful and talented host.
For trying so hard to pass on the tradition, for our culture, for our historical heritage. That's really a wonderful thing to do. Thank you so much again.
Thank you.
We would love to just dive in more, but I think we've passed the time. But it's okay. Maybe next time.
I guess it's going to be enjoyable podcast.
I've really enjoyed it, and I'm actually impressed by how your experience, how you've managed to overcome so much things. That's really wonderful. Maybe next time we'll meet in another podcast, inshallah.
Yes, and we dive deep into more questions, inshallah. Or maybe I will ask you questions. I will be your host. I will be there and you will be here. Yeah.
Maybe I'm inspired by your work, so maybe I can be a storyteller.
Of course, you will be also inspiring.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much.